you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you with another growth minisode. This will be a bite-sized episode with the goal of setting a growth-minded intention and focus for the upcoming week. Each minisode will offer a quote that encapsulates the theme of the week. After the quote, we're going to dive into a weekly focus, something small that we can concentrate on for the following 7 days, as well as a physical activity tip and a nutrition tip that will assist us in working towards a more healthy and optimal way of living our own dream life. And each minisode will end with a recommendation for the week. This recommendation could be anything from a podcast episode to a book, to an article or paper, or a social media person to follow. Anything that I think is going to help us better educate ourselves towards the overall focus of the week. These minisodes will only be as beneficial to you as you're willing to make them. So if you're playing along with the weekly focuses or the physical activity and nutrition tips, it's going to help you be much more successful, as well as help with your adherence and motivation to do this with someone in your life. So grab an accountability buddy and share on your social platforms the challenges of the week. You never know who is quietly watching and rooting for you. You never know whose life you're going to inspire just by sharing your journey, both the challenges and the successes. You're going to be far more likely to be successful with a support system and a social network that is chasing similar goals to you. And as you work on making your life healthier, and you motivate your network through your positive actions and lifestyle choices, and the ripple effect is going to be unimaginable with who will be touched by you motivating and posting and including others on your journey. So let's dive into this week's growth minisode. This week's quote comes from the one and only Mahatma Ghandi. Gandhi said, "Strength does not come from physical capability. It comes from an indomitable will." Strength does not come from a physical capability. It comes from an indomitable will. Our weekly focus this week is going to be all about gratitude, expressing gratitude, focusing on gratitude, being hyper aware of all the things in your life that you're grateful for. So every morning this week, physically write down or type up 3 things that you're grateful for. Come up with at least one new one each day. Neuroscientist Daniel Levitin talked on the Feel Better, Live More podcast, one of my favorite podcasts with Dr. Chatterjee, and said there are 3 personality traits or mindsets that are key ingredients to long-term health and happiness. And by cultivating conscientiousness, curiosity, and number 3 was his biggest one, gratitude. Cultivating conscientiousness, curiosity, and gratitude. He said by cultivating these 3 things, you can actually slow the aging process. Mindset is so important in life, especially during tough and challenging times. It is really easy to get into a downward spiral of toxic thoughts and dig your way into a hole that feels impossible to get out of. You must rewire your brain and focus on what you would like more of. You get what you focus on. So focus on what you want. Starting off your day by actually notating what you're grateful for, this shifts the mind into a state of abundance, a state of appreciation. This guides your mind and your body towards a state of positivity and thankfulness for what you have. In positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. So every day this week, post on your stories your 3 or more gratitude items. If there is a specific someone that you write down, send it to them, tag or text it to them, even if you haven't talked to them in a while. When you express gratitude and you share with others, it helps them think about all the things that they're grateful for. And now you're helping to rewire your friends' and family's life towards the same positivity. It's contagious. It is you putting a wave of positive energy that ripples throughout your network and community. for sure tag me and share with me. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with this week. Moving on to this week's physical activity tip. Your physical activity tip is all about priming your body the right way for your physical activity. Whether you're going to do a HIIT workout, or you're going for a hike, or you're playing in a city league sports game, or just going outside and playing with your kids, it is so important, especially in this day and age where we have a more sedentary life and we do more sedentary activity than movement throughout most of our day. It's so important to make sure you warm up correctly and avoid injury. I'm going to keep this one pretty short because I have a masterclass episode coming out in the future where we're going to talk about the different types of stretching. But for today, we're going to go and we're going to refer to the two main types of stretching: static stretching and dynamic stretching. Static stretching is what most people think of when they think of stretching. You reach for your toes and you hold that stretch for 30 seconds. Whereas dynamic stretching is just that, more dynamic. Leg swings, inchworms, walking lunges with rotations, Frankenstein hamstring walks. Before you engage in physical activity this week, pick some dynamic movements that are similar to the activity that you're about to participate in, and do those to warm up your body that way. You want to take the blood flow to the muscles that you're going to be working. You want to create the neurological signals from the brain to the limbs, simulating the movements you're about to be performing. Then you can save the static stretching for after the physical activity or before you go to bed. Dynamic stretching prior, static stretching post. We're going to go much further into the science and other styles in a masterclass episode, so be on the lookout for that when that drops. Moving on, next is our nutrition tip for the week. This week, the goal is, when it comes to nutrition, is to increase your awareness of what we put into our bodies. Increase our awareness of what we put into our bodies. There's nothing more intimate than putting a substance inside of you, and then that substance becomes a part of you. I think somewhere along the line of getting access to unlimited food, I think we lost sight of this. We have disconnected from that magical element in life. When it comes to the food you eat, everything in nutrition is individualized. Even the things that we are certain are true for almost everyone. There is still that one-off situation where it's completely the opposite for whatever the reason might be. So my challenge to you is to create a food log. Not so much how much you are eating, which you can do that, but that's a little bit more challenging. But to what you're eating and how it makes you feel. Write down what you ate, and then when in the day you ate it, and then notate shortly after just how you feel. Maybe it's feelings like full or hungry or nauseous or satisfied, but it could also include feelings like happy, hangry, sad, depressed, joyful, relieved, and feelings of that nature. After a week of keeping this type of food log, you may have a newfound awareness of what types of foods are beneficial towards your overall health and happiness, or which foods you may want to experiment with cutting out. If you ever get those surges this week of excess happiness, excess sadness, any kind of feeling where you're like, whoa, why am I feeling that way? Those should be feelings that you write down in your food log. There could be a food that is considered the healthiest food in the world, but if after you eat it, you feel unhappy or sluggish, or it puts you in a terrible mood, then maybe that food isn't worth it to you to consume, and you can make adjustments to find out other alternatives. What did you eat? When did you eat it? How did it make you feel? Start a log, even if it's just a note in your phone. Whatever you're going to adhere to is the best way to go about it. And lastly is your weekly recommendation. I am recommending another podcast episode from The Model Health Show with Sean Stevenson, my favorite podcast. This is episode number 330. The title is The Science of Hunger and the Set Point Diet with Jonathan Baylor. This was released on January 15, 2019. The Science of Hunger and the Set Point Diet with Jonathan Baylor. And Jonathan Baylor is spelled Jonathonbailor. I'll include the link to this podcast in the description of the episode if you can't find it. There's a little controversy on the theory of the set point. The theory is that your body has this place that it loves to default to. When you get cold, you shiver and you get back to that default temperature. When you're hot, you sweat until you're back at your default temperature. And some other health professionals believe the same thing happens with your hormones to be at your default body composition. So where your body likes to sit with its weight. If you're struggling with weight loss, if you think you're eating in a calorie deficit, or you're always hungry, or if you're struggling with obesity or diabetes or any of those other chronic diseases that have to do with food, the information from this podcast episode may be something that sparks an idea of ways for you to overcome your obstacles. Everybody's different, and all you need to do is trial and error and figure out what works for you. Give it a listen and let me know what you think. I myself would love to hear if you have any expertise in this area as well, and you could teach me some new info, because the set point diet, there is a little controversy there. And that's it, my friends, for this week's Growth Minisode. Each week, we will focus on something new and dial in a different aspect of physical activity and nutrition. Share with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. It takes a village. Post on your social media stories your items of gratitude or your food mood journal. Post a video of your dynamic warm-ups and make sure you tag me and share your journey with us. And let me know if you have any suggestions or tips that would help your Livin the Dream team that I can discuss on future episodes. I'm going to be right here with you, working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.